there's another reason to clap. Indore won the best award for LMA at IMA once again. And I must say we were very well represented at IMA, and I think Indore won a lot of laurels in terms of the activities we are doing. So without wasting time, may I request the AV team to play the IMA song?
It's a life, we live it this way. Together we play. We are IMA. From the beginning till the end of this day, we move and we sway. Together we stay. We'll take your hand and help you through the mistake. Whatever it takes, we'll find a brand new place. We'll join our hand in hands and then we'll fly till the end of the time, till our worries will die. We'll do it our way, the IMA way. It's a dream to be at our best. We fight on our own with no room for rest. It's a dream to be at our best. We fight on our own with no room for rest. That is a legacy that we want to leave. Make them all believe there will be no relief. And all the world will follow us on the track, turning right from the black, just like raising the flag. We'll do it our way, the IMA way.
Everybody passionate of IMA goes through something which cannot be expressed in words every time you listen to this song. So may I request all the dignitaries, Mr. Dharmendra Jain, Mr. Akhilesh Rathi, Mr. Naveen Khandelwal, Shonali Paul and Mr. Manoj Jain, along with our chief guest, to join us on the stage for lamp lighting.
श्वेत पद्मासना या ब्रह्माच्युत शंकर प्रभृतिभिः देवी सदा वन्दिता सा मां पातु सरस्वती भगवती निःशेष जाड्या शुक्लां ब्रह्म विचार सार परिमां आद्यां जगत् व्यापिनी वीणा पुस्तक धारिणीं अभयदां हस्ते स्फाटिकमालिकां विदधति.
Thank you. May I request our chief guest, Mr. Shivakumar, operating partner at Advent International Private Equity and former chairman of PepsiCo India, and President IMA, Mr. Naveen Khandelwal, to please join us on the dais. I now thank you. I now request our IMA President, Mr. Naveen Khandelwal, to open today's program.
IMA an एसोसिएशन जो 3 स्तंभ पर है, परंपरा, प्रतिबिंब और प्रभाव। परंपरा ये 61 सालों का ये मैनेजमेंट फ्रेटर्निटी का को एक सूत्र में बांध रहा है, bringing people from different walks of life, businesses, age groups with a common vision. Pratibimb, IMA is reflective of what is the need of the management and business world and also the young generation, bringing on platter dishes which is common to all. And Prava, IMA is progressive as per the dynamic environment. Together makes more sense when senses are together, and it can happen when it re-centers to the navigating tool. From 1963, when IMA was born, the super hit song of that year, Jo Wada Kiya Tha Nibhana Padega, I think IMA has been clinging on to that song and delivering whatever has been promised to its members. And those who have been part of this journey are the witness to the same. To apprise our honorable guest of the evening, primarily IMA has focused on the internal growth of the company by conducting different programs, events, trainings, which have fostered positive mindset and imbibed new world culture and broadened the horizon of the people. IMA is focused on people growth, and it believes that when people will grow, business will grow, the city will grow. And it believes on the motto, taking Indore to the world and bringing world to Indore. With the patronage of more than 100 corporates, 3,000 members directly and indirectly, an equal number of students, I think everybody has got the benefit out of IMA. And IMA believes that the root will remain intact, and the root of IMA, it says that safar abhi khatam nahi hua hai, kyunki safar kabhi khatam nahi hota. And it also sings with the Kishore Das song, ki ye safar hai sumana, yahan kal kya hoga, kisne jana. Together we have done it, and together we'll all shape the future. Thank you, and welcome all to this 61st Foundation.
Undoubtedly, our president has a gift of the gab, so every time he surprises me by saying something which he hasn't said earlier. So, may I now request Mr. Akhilesh Rathi, immediate past president, IMA, and our board member, for presenting a small token of remembrance to our chief guest. May we request the AV team to please play the AV of Mr. Shivakumar.
Mr. Shiv Shivakumar is a visionary leader and management thinker. He is currently serving as the operating partner at Advent International, a globally recognized private equity firm celebrated for diversity and inclusion. His previous role was as the Group Executive President, Corporate Strategy at Aditya Birla Group, overseeing multiple industries in over 36 countries. His career began at Hindustan Sivakumar and Hindustan Unilever with experience in sales, marketing and general management. He also served as the CEO of Philips India, leading the consumer electronics division towards significant growth. He joined Nokia in 2006 as the Managing Director India and was instrumental in making Nokia the #1 brand in India with a focus on rural markets and services like Nokia Live Tools. He was promoted to Senior Vice President Emerging Markets, covering 90 countries that contributed to 40% of Nokia's global business. His strategies were featured as case studies at Harvard, ISB and other Ivy League institutions. He was appointed chairperson and CEO of PepsiCo India in 2013, where he transformed the portfolio and pushed brands like Quaker and Tropicana while managing business operations across South Asia. He is known for his contributions to brand building, deepening consumer engagement, and driving corporate growth. In January 2023, Mr. Shivakumar joined Advent International, where he continues to contribute to global growth strategies. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to welcome Mr. Shivakumar.
Engineer resplendent career, sir. Request you to address the August gathering.
Can you see me there? Can you hear me out there? Yes. Fantastic. Similarly, can you see and hear me out there? Fantastic. Okay, excellent. So
the event team has got the phone now.
okay. So many ladies, which is good, because in most boring management conventions you only have men. Okay, many wonderful ladies and wonderful men here of the Indore Management Association. It's my absolute delight to be here this evening on your foundation day, which is the 61st, I am told. You are just as close as IMA. IMA just finished a few years ahead of you. I think the Chennai Management Association, or the Madras Management Association as it's called, was actually ahead, as was Bangalore. Bangalore and Chennai were the early ones, followed by the All India Management Association, followed by the Indore Management Association. So congratulations on your 61st Foundation Day. And more important, thank you very much for calling me here to be in your midst to celebrate this wonderful day with all of you. Thank you very much for that kind invitation. When I think of Indore, for the last 10 years, I'm a president in 2012-13, and for the last 10 years, I've been the chairman of the jury evaluating the LMAs. And I was telling your honorable board that 4 LMAs always stood out for me every time, and this is there in my memory over 10 years. There's Indore Management Association, there's Madras Management Association, there's Baroda Management Association, there's Rajkot Management Association. These 4 consistently come to the top in almost every single evaluation that we've done. I have come here as part of your conclave, your annual conference. The first year I spoke was with Shashi Tharoor. The next time I came 2-3 years later, a few years later, was with Sunil Kant Munjal. Okay, then I also came and did a session like this with all of you. So thank you very much for having me again. It's an absolute delight to be here. I flew in from Delhi this afternoon, and I'll fly back to Delhi this evening. I'm going to take 30 minutes to talk to you about a very important topic, which is disruption and transformation. You can apply the lessons of this to you individually. You can apply the lessons of this to your children. You can apply the lessons of this to your business. You can apply the lessons of this to your family. Okay? All of us, in one way or the other, are going through disruption. Okay? That's what I will talk to you about for the next 30 minutes. After that, we have 30 minutes of Q&A. Feel free to ask me anything you want. Nothing's off the table. You can ask me any question on any topic which you need clarity on. Okay? So, disruption and transformation. My first question to all of you. What, according to you, is disruption? When I say disruption, what goes on in your mind? What is disruption? What is disruption to you? Changing the status quo. That's what he says. Okay, go on. Others.
Constant change.
Constant change. Yeah.
Breaking out from the normal.
Breaking up.
From the normal.
Breaking out from the normal. Yeah.
Departure from status quo.
Departure from status quo. Yeah.
A change that is bigger
A change that is bigger than
than a small change.
a small change. Okay.
U-turn.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Unorthodox innovation.
Innovation. Yeah.
Unorthodox approach.
Another approach. So the fact is, all of you are right. There is no one definition of disruption, and each and every one of you is right. My definition of disruption would always be something which upsets your routine. You have a routine every day. So let's say tomorrow you have a disruption for you don't sleep well. That's a disruption. There's something going on in your mind. You don't get up on time, you don't go and exercise. Something on your mind, it's a disruption. Anything which upsets your routine is a disruption. So, it can be at an individual level, it can be at a family level, it can be at a business level, it can be at a society level, at every level. For example, when when there is a Bandh in Indore, it's a disruption. Why? It disrupts our daily life. Okay? So anything which changes your routine is disruption. Okay? So think about this. A simple definition, anything which changes your routine. And why is this important? Let me give you examples of companies which have not paid heed to this very simple thing. Okay? If you look at the average age of a company, the lifespan of a company. In the year 1930, the average life of a company was 90 years. In the year 1960, the average age of a company is 60 years. Today, the average age of a company is between 12 and 18 years. The average age of somebody living in India right now is 74 years. The average age of a kid born last year in India is about 90 years. The average age of anybody born in Western Europe last year is 100 years. Now think about it. Your lifespan is 74 years. The lifespan of a company is 12 to 18 years. Now, how will you think about it? The way young people today think is, yeah, I have a long life, I have a long career, I'm not sure this company will be around. That's the reason they keep changing every 3-4 years. They are not sure whether you'll be around. With so much disruption happening thanks to technology, they are unsure. Okay, so this is what is happening in people's mind today, to say the life of a company is well short of my life as a career professional. This is a very significant thing, and you have to understand this. You have to understand this, especially with the young people. Okay? So, because companies don't understand it, 1/3 of Fortune 500 companies go off the list every 10 years. So we are in 2024, 2023, let's say 2014. If you saw the list in 2014 and you see the list today, 1/3 of companies are gone. And when I talk about this, whether it's in Hong Kong or Singapore or London or Barcelona or Indore, everybody gets it intellectually. They say, yeah, Shiv, we understand that. Let me break it down for you. If 170 companies are going out of that list, either dying or bought over or bankrupt in 10 years' time, which means 17 companies are going out of business every year, which means 1.5 companies are going bankrupt or out of that list every month. Now let me give you the list. The number 1 company on that list is Walmart with $641 billion. Number 1. Number 499, I'm not taking 500, number 499 is Mitsubishi Heavy Industries. Their revenue is $24 billion. The point I want to make is, these are not small companies. 640 billion at one level, 24 billion at number 499. If they are going out of business, then there's something serious happening. That's the point I want to make to you. If the big company is not immune, in the past we said too big to fail. That doesn't hold anymore. In fact, I would submit to you today, if you're big, you're bound to fail more than the small guy. You're going to fail faster and quicker than the small guy today. Okay, that's what's going to happen. I'll give you some examples. Okay. Next, 45% of CEOs in a recent survey said, if I continue with my current business model in my current company, we will not exist in the next 10 years. 45% of CEOs said that this year in March. That same number last year was 39%. So which means 1 in 2 CEOs are saying, if we don't change in the next 10 years, we won't be around. This is global data. India data is no different. Okay. So people recognize it and are pushing for that change. Okay. So let me ask you a simple question, okay, which is, how many of you are willing to accept a different point of view? You know something? Everybody has put up their hands. It's nice to say yes to this question. Okay, now let's let the rubber hit the road. Okay, this is a chap called Dick Fosbury. Dick Fosbury won the gold medal in the high jump in 1968. In 1963, or around that time, he went to his coach and said, you know what, I don't think the current way of high jumping is correct, where you're going with your head first and jumping with your feet. He said, I'd rather go over my back because the center of mass of my body is better distributed that way. For the same force, I'll be able to lift myself more. Okay. If you were Dick Fosbury's coach, would you have accepted? This is what happened. See, all of you put up your hand when you said, given a point of view, I'll take it. Why do I say this? Your child is going to come to you. Your nephew is going to come to you. Your niece is going to come to you and say, I have another point of view, an alternate point of view. And trust me, you're going to say, don't do it. Stick with the safe and tested method. I, for example, come from a family of bureaucrats and doctors. You throw a stone in our family, you'll hit a doctor or a bureaucrat. Okay? 100%. Okay? Long list of bureaucrats, long list of doctors. So when I was going for my business school after my engineering, my parents wanted me to get into IAS. So I went to meet my uncle, who was then the commissioner of police in Bangalore City, and I said, parents are keen that I do IAS, I've got this, etc. He said, Shiv, just forget it, don't do IAS, you go. You're the first guy going into an MBA from our family, just go. We have too many doctors, too many government officers, don't worry, just go, you'll be fine. And so he called my mother and said, don't push Shiv into IAS, let him do what he wants. So every time your child and your nephew will come to you, you are going to say no, trust me. That is disruption. Your ability to say yes is the acceptance that you're willing to take a chance, you're willing to take a risk. 9 times out of 10 you're going to say no, trust me. And that's what I want you to do, don't do that. Okay? So he went on to win the gold medal. Today everybody jumps this way. Nobody jumps over here. One man changed it completely. So, the first point I want to make to you is that disruption rarely comes from current leader in the industry. Whoever is a current leader in the industry, disruption rarely comes from them. Disruption always comes from somebody else, not the leader. Many times disruption might come from people outside the industry, not even in your industry. Okay? That's what happens. Let me give you examples as you sit here today, right now. Okay? Mr. Juneja picked me up in his wonderful Mahindra car. Okay? And I was talking to him about his car, a great SUV, fantastic car. Okay? Maruti was a market leader, 55 share. Mr. Bhargav, whom I have a lot of respect for, is a good friend of mine. Are you recording this?
Yes, sir.
Are you recording this?
Yes, sir.
You're recording this. Are you going to put it publicly?
Yes, no.
Yes.
No, no.
Yes, no. What is it?
No, sir, no.
Huh?
No, sir, no.
Yes, it goes public, yeah. Let's be honest. It goes public on
Yes,
the
sir.
IMA. We have a
Okay, if it's public, then I must be a little more careful in what I say.
We can stop it, sir.
No, it's okay.
We can
No,
stop
no,
it.
no,
We can have a pause.
no, you record it. No worries. I will just get my words right. So Maruti, which is the market leader at 55%, they say, let SUVs develop and we'll see. Who drove SUVs? Not Maruti. Mahindra. Toyota. Today Toyota is the king of SUV. Mahindra is the king of SUV. Okay? Maruti market share. Next, EV comes along. Mr. Gadkari says EV is going to be big, etc., etc. Maruti again says, let the EV market develop, we'll see what we need to do. Who's gone away with the EV market? Tata's. Suddenly, from 54-55 share, Maruti is down to 44. They introduce their own SUVs, now they come back to 46. They've lost 10 share. Each point is worth thousands of crores. Think about it. Here's a market which they're supposed to know, right? This is what happens. Whether it's a doctor in Indore, whether it is an engineer in Indore, whether it's a chartered accountant in Indore, whether it's a lawyer in Indore, we fail to see the disruption in front of our eyes. We fail to see the future when it is staring at us. We think that the past will continue. It never does. So, here's a great example in front of our eyes in India. Today, if you read the latest newspaper, hatchbacks are just 10%. Sedans are just 10%. Mini SUVs are about 30%. SUVs are another 30-35%. And then the others are hatchbacks. So something like 75% of the market is an SUV or a hatchback. It's happened in the last 5 years. Maruti came into this country in 1984, 40 years ago. You can lose a lot because you're unwilling to drive. So here's a lesson for all of you. Simply said, if you don't do anything, the cost of that is significantly higher than a failed attempt. Please do something and fail, that's cheaper than not doing something. Your alternative always has to be not doing something is not an option. You have to try something, experiment something, learn from it. The more you don't do anything, the more your reputation suffers. The more you'll slide, you don't realize it. Okay? Done. Let me give you another example in front of your eyes. E-commerce was the big, story, big basket, Amazon, etc. Suddenly in the last 2 years, we've had quick commerce, Q-commerce. I sit on the board of ID Foods, which is dosa idli batter, coffee decoction, etc. 50% of our sale is quick commerce. 50%. What's the point I'm trying to make? Any product which has freshness, which has convenience attached to it, will be sold through Q-commerce. You know why? All the wonderful ladies here, they're not going to get up in the morning and say, I'm going to have an idli or a dosa or a vada or something. They might say, oh, it's fine, let me order it. Is Q-commerce here in Indore? It's there already? Okay, fair enough. So you'll pick up and order it. And the delivery is done in 20 minutes time. So you are avoiding pantry loading, you're staying fresh, and you're deciding at that moment of time whether I should do it or not. As this happened, Amazon for the last 2 years has been discussing, should we do Q-commerce or not? They've done nothing as yet. Okay. Big Basket has been saying, no, nothing will happen. Those guys will go away. This is the other thing which happens. When somebody new comes in, we foo-foo and say, can't work. Hey, why are you buying EV? Range is not there. Okay, plug point is not there. It's only 200 kilometers, etc. I was shocked. I read a month ago. EVs are selling like gangbusters in Addis Ababa. Addis Ababa, the capital of Ethiopia. I've been there a number of times. It's selling gangbusters, EV. Can anybody tell me the number one reason why it's selling? Anybody? And I'll send you a book. Anybody who tells me the answer.
Fuel is not available.
Absolutely right. Fantastic answer. Because petrol is in short supply. People are saying, why the hell why should I stand in a long queue outside a gas station? So think about it. Okay, that's the reason to sell in Addis Ababa. EV is here to stay. People will tell you only if government gives subsidy it will sell, otherwise it won't sell. Bunker. Consumer loves it, it will sell. Remember that always. If the consumer has made his equation in his head or her head saying this is good value, it will sell. Otherwise it will not sell. It just won't go anywhere. So, my point to you is, the signals are out there. In sports, the signal is a reflex. When does a Tendulkar know that he has to leave? When he realizes that the fast bowler, by the time he's putting his bat out, the ball is going past him. His reflexes are slowing. When does Sampras realize that he has to leave? When Federer beats him badly in the 2001 quarterfinal, and Sampras says, I don't want to keep losing, coming back and losing here. I'm a great champion. So sports people have an automatic reason which they pick up. Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli retired from all international T20. They said, we can't go on anymore. A younger breed comes in. Faster reflexes are needed. In sports, it's built in. Either age or reflex. One of the two is built in. They recognize that it's time up. And hence they move on. Okay. Disruption always starts as a small blip and then gains traction. Q-commerce was like that. Okay. Q-commerce. I know many people in Gurgaon, where I come from, where I live right now, who get up in the morning at 6:37. Okay, husband, wife, sometimes a kid, etc. They're sitting in their, in their living room or whatever it is. Then they call up and order tea on Chayos. They order tea on Chayos. Can you believe it? It's happening right now.
It's happening right now.
Oh, fantastic. Very good. So now think about it. Why? The housewife is saying the convenience is so good, the price is affordable. Why should I sit in the kitchen, boil the bloody water, boil the bloody tea, and why should I do it? I'd rather spend time with my kid and my husband chatting about various things. That fellow will come. Fine. So she, in her mind, has made an assessment of the value she's willing to pay. If Chayo says a pot of coffee or tea is 1,000 bucks, she'll say no. But if a pot of tea or coffee is 250 bucks, she'll say yes, I'll pick it. Full stop. As simple as that. Okay? So the initial view of the leader is always to foo-foo any new innovation that comes, any disruption that comes. Okay? Companies start drinking their own Kool-Aid and start believing that they're great and they don't need it. That's not true also. Okay? Where you need to watch is when does the price value change? When price value changes in a market, then there is disruption happening. 100%. When profit pools start shrinking, you know that there is disruption in the market. You have no choice. You know, when I used to work in Hindustan Lever, I used to be area sales manager Chennai, and then I was also branch manager Chennai. The first time I realized that there was overcapacity supply, etc., was in 1991-92. I would see these big hoardings in T Nagar. Anybody who's been to Chennai will know that T Nagar is the hub of all gold and all great saris in Chennai. It's the hub. Nalli, everybody's there. All these big jewelry boys put up hoardings saying no making charges. That was the first signal.
No wasting.
Absolutely, first signal. Imagine a guy saying, somebody selling you gold, worth thousands of rupees, lakhs of rupees, saying no making charges, 1% off. There is disruption out there. And I should tell my salesman, that's disruption out there happening right now. Okay? So watch for the price value changing in your industry, watch for the profit pool shifting. Now you have disruption, what do? You have to transform. Disruption is all good, it's good. The antidote to disruption is transformation. You need to transform. This is James McGregor, who said a transformation leader is somebody when one or more engage with either in a way with one another to higher levels of motivation and morality. Whenever there is disruption, the motivation drops. People get worried. That's the time you as a leader need to step up and say, hey, come, let's lift it. We have a bright future. This is what we're going to do, and we'll move forward. Okay? That's what McGregor said. Okay? You asked me this question, sir. And now when we are having a cup of tea, why transform? Okay? From the textile industry, you said, why transform? This is the Nifty 50 as of last week. 3 days ago, I pulled it up. The Nifty 50 has 50 companies, of which 20 are B2C companies, business to consumer. 20 are B2B2C companies or B2B companies, and 10 are others. The average PE value of 2024 of the Nifty 50 is 24. The 20 B2C companies have a PE of 43. Others have a PE of 10. So what does it tell you? It tells you that the market rewards somebody who's connected to the consumer. The market rewards somebody who has a brand which has value. The market does not reward anybody who has zero control of the value chain. So, what do you control in a value chain? You can control buying. Suppose I'm the best buyer of iron ore or magnesium or tea or coffee or whatever it is, I have control. I have the best technology to turn it into a product, I have control. I have the best distribution in the world, I have control. I have the best brand in the world, I have control. Okay? People give me 60 days credit, I collect my money within 1 week by selling it to people, I have control. Each control point adds to your PE value. That's how I want you to think about it. Why should you transform? You have to transform because you want to create value for yourself, you want to create value for your family, you want to create value for your shareholders, you want to create value for yourself. That's the reason you need to transform. The more you don't transform, the more you want to get hit. So the first journey is branding. And trust me, people say, should B2B brand not needed? Not true. In a digital world, everybody is a brand. You are a brand. I am a brand. IMA is a brand. Everything is a brand. The IMA website is a newspaper in its own right. Today, is there any media here? None, right? Interesting. No media here. Tomorrow when you put the speech, you have content. Media does not have it. So anybody who has a camera in their phone and takes a picture, they are newspaper. You have to have control. That's very, very important. Okay? So why transform? Why should we do it? Okay? So transformation. A few quick slides on transformation. 33% of companies right now are in transformation mode. Globally. 1/3 of companies are saying we need to transform, we have to transform. We have no choice. Damn good. So what does that mean? How many of them are successful? Here's the raw data. Out of the 300 transformations sample 2013 to 23, only 12% of companies 10 years ago and today are 100% successful in their transformation. 10 years ago, 38% of companies didn't meet their numbers at all. Today, 75% of companies meet at least 50% of their transformation goals. So the point is, you won't get everything right in a transformation. Every transformation must have about 6 to 10 initiatives. If you have 1 or 2 initiatives, your chance of success is 8%. You have 3 or 4 initiatives, your chance of success is 12 to 16%. You have 5 or 6 or more initiatives, your chance of success is 30 to 40%. So if you are transforming, you need to transform at least 6 initiatives in your organization. 6 minimum. Okay, then you have a better chance. So what's the lesson for all of you? Don't bet your hat, don't bet your gold, and don't bet your house or car on one thing. If we do this one thing, life will be different. No, there is nothing called one thing. In today's fast changing world, there is no silver bullet. There's no silver bullet, full stop. You have to do many things. Not too many to confuse people, but enough to actually get you going. Currently, as I speak to you, these are the companies going through transformation. Starbucks just fired their CEO. Google going through a big transformation. Antitrust. The Australian court is saying, you know what, we need to pay the Times of India and the Hindu and the Wall Street Journal because you're taking their link and giving it to your consumers. Okay, saying you need to pay. Intel, worst quarter ever. Okay, their CEO will go. Nike, worst quarter ever. Their CEO is going to go. Uber is in perpetual transformation from day one. They've never got anything right. Zero. Okay, they are easily the worst that I have seen as any ride-sharing company, and I don't mind saying it publicly. You know, absolutely. Okay, Air India, interesting example. How many of you have flown Air India recently? Everybody, fantastic. Okay. Quick question: what do you think of Air India transformation so far?
Good.
Good.
Okay.
Others?
Not much change.
Not good.
Okay.
Reasonable. Not as expected.
Horrible. My goodness.
Can do better.
Can do better. Anybody else?
Too slow.
Too slow. Anybody else?
Too good.
Too good. Fantastic. Anybody else?
They नहीं सुधरेंगे.
Huh?
They नहीं सुधरेंगे.
Fantastic. You've given them. Gone case. Okay. Interesting. Let me give you my observation of it. And this is a good example for all of us to think about. You just put your company name instead of Air India. That's all. And then think about the next slide of what I'm going to tell you. Okay. I believe the Air India transformation, okay, rests on 6 things, what I call the 6 P's. First is the product. Now, Air India has not ordered a new plane for the last 20 years. So, which means all the new planes they are ordering, the A350s, the 777s, the 321s, everything, by the time it's more than 50% new plane in terms of a fleet, it will be 2028. So your product, whether you like it or not, you have to run with your current product. Yes or no?
Yes.
Correct? You have to run with your current product for the next 3 years at least. People. You've got a bunch of new people, you retired all the old people, etc. Has the people attitude changed in Air India?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
That is an area which I would focus on. I can't change my product, but can I up service to a dramatic degree to my people? Can they be very empathetic? Even better, because I know that Indigo is too professional and zero empathy. That's the difference I need to drive. To say, my people are very warm, my people welcome you compared to anybody else. Third, perception. Perception is what you told me in the room. Sudhrega nahi, nothing will happen, etc. I need to change that. The only way I can change perception is through people. I cannot have a great perception and bad people. I can have good people and a bad perception, but over time it will change. And over time, good people will give me good perception. Next, something in my control, punctuality. If I was in Air India, I will change the schedule to say, you know, boss, I am now going to fly at 4:30, not at 4, no problem. That's the new calendar. The more they are punctual, the more you will give them a chance. The less they are punctual, whatever they do, you will not give them a chance. So in that industry, punctuality matters. It's a visible marker of change. Because your image of old Air India is late. If I can change that image in your head, I'm fine. Next is pride. The pride that Air India is there, and patriotism. This is for India. So if I was advising Air India, and I'll tell them, focus on people, focus on punctuality, and build pride back. If we did these 3 of the 6, we'll transform. Forget the others. Don't worry about the others. There is a time and place for the others. I cannot change my product. I recognize it. Clear? Yes or no? That is what transformation is about. You're seeing, Air India, every time you fly them, this is what they need to do right if they want to truly transform and move forward. Okay? So, why transformations fail? Now that I've spoken about it. One, there's a lack of urgency. Oh, dekha jayega, we will see, nothing will change. Okay, we have seen this before. A number of young people come to me for coaching. Okay, I won't name them. And their biggest problem, what do you think is their biggest problem? When they, young people who are family business people, in the age group 25 to 35, both boys and girls.
They're very impulsive.
That's their biggest problem?
No, not the problem.
What do you think is their biggest problem?
Impatient.
Impatient. What else do you think is their biggest problem? Their biggest challenge? What do you think it is?
Instant gratification.
Their biggest challenge?
Coping up with the world.
Anybody else? 25 to 35.
They want to do too many things too fast.
Okay, anybody else?
Short attention span.
Short attention span. Okay.
Immediate result.
They want immediate
Instant gratification.
You won't believe this. Their biggest challenge is Shiv. They're all in business with their parents. Shiv, my biggest challenge is how do I convince my uncle, my father, and my grandfather? They say, Shiv, I agree with everything that you're saying, but my father won't change. They say, every time I go to my father says, I've seen this for 30 years. So he asked me, Shiv, what do I do to tell him that life is different? Lack of urgency comes from thinking you know it. The fact is we don't know it. The day you accept you don't know it, you will change. Okay. Second, insufficient leadership. Not enough inspirational leadership. Third is limited vision, narrow vision. To say, hey, if we do this one thing, we'll be okay. We do this 2 things, we'll be okay. No. Or okay, I'm only happy being in Indore. Why not the country? Why not the world? Narrow vision. Poor communication, especially to rank and file to say we need to change. And shortage of quick wins in communication and celebration. We won, guys, we're on the path, we've done this right, let's go. We've done this right, let's go. In sports, they do that very well. In marathon, etc., when they run, they'll say, okay, first 10 kilometers, guys, we've clocked the right time. Next 10 kilometers, next 10 kilometers. When people climb Everest, they say, first base camp, achieved. Next, they keep celebrating. That's what you need to do if you want to transform. So Air India, if it wants to transform, if it gets punctual, it must celebrate like Matt to say, we are the best and most punctual airline in India today. They have to celebrate and make a noise around it. That's when it will enthuse the feeling of pride in all the people who work with them, saying we are doing something. So, if you want to be a transformation leader, this is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. The 3 basic ones, physiological, safety, and social belonging, is what a transactional leader does every day. The higher order, which is esteem and self-actualization, is what a transformational leader does. Why are you doing this? You're doing this for the company, for the sake of its people, for our reputation, for our brand. It's not about the basics. The basics are sorted, trust me. So when you're talking of all these young people who are impatient and this and that, what they want is those two. That's what you're missing. You're still treating them like the old employee who's focused on the bottom three. They're not the old employee. That's the big difference. Okay, so focus on the higher ones. So, how does a transformational leader do it? Each of you, how can you do it? Ask hypothetical questions. Okay? What do you think will happen if this happened in our industry? Tomorrow ask a question. What do you think will happen to us if inflation became 25%? What do you think will happen to us if steel prices went up by 30%? What do you think will happen to us if fuel prices went up by 40%? Suddenly you're making them think. You're making them think transformation. You're saying, man, this can happen. Are we ready? Are we prepared? You know, I'm a cricket fan, and John Buchanan and Ricky Ponting and Steve Waugh, they were discussing once, it seems, and they asked a simple question amongst themselves. What will it take to score 400 runs in a one-day match in 50 overs? They did all their analysis, brainstorming, chatted for a long time, into the night, over beer, etc. Finally, they came to a very simple conclusion. It's amazing now. Very simple conclusion. They said, if a team has to score 400 runs in a one-day match, 2 people of the top 3 need to score a century. That's all. If 2 of the top 3, number 1, 2, 3 batsmen score a century, you'll get 400. Happened. Every time there's 400 on the board, look at that stat. So that's a question of hypothetical question. How can we get to 400 in 50 overs? That's the answer. Okay? That's how you transform people. Pick weak signals from the noise. Pick the signals before the noise hits you. Okay? And juxtapose the unthinkable, saying, suppose, and this is a very good Intel example, Andy Grove and his deputy were sitting, they were in memory chips those days, and they were moving to microprocessors. So Andy Grove asked his assistant, if a new CEO and COO came and there was a new board, what do you think they'll do with Intel? Juxtapose the unthinkable. And now what his assistant told him? They'll do microprocessors, they'll get out of memory chips. He said, then why are we not doing it? So many times somebody outside will come and tell you what you should do, but you don't want to do it because you think you're too smart for it, that you know it all. So go through the unthinkable. Always go through the unthinkable. When you go through the unthinkable, your mind becomes fresher. And ask lots of what if questions. What if this is delayed? What if our number 1 customer drops dead tomorrow morning? What if our number 2 customer does not pay tomorrow morning? What's our option? What if a bank calls on a working capital requirement? What do we do? Ask a lot of what if questions. When you do this is when the people in your organization transform. They'll start thinking differently. Otherwise, they'll always look to you for guidance. They'll say, what is the boss saying? Let me just go do that. Okay? So my final slide before I summarize, and I've taken 42 minutes. Sum total of all that I've told you, ladies and gentlemen, applies to you, applies to your children, applies to everybody you deal with you. Possibly the only chart. I probably just used this chart and spoken for 32 minutes. Here's my chart. It's better to be a BA of the future than a PhD of the past. It is better to be a BA of the future than a PhD of the past. The problem is, we are all PhDs of the past. So till you make this shift in your own mind to say, I don't know, but I'm willing to learn. I don't need to be a PhD in this. I don't need to be a PhD in AI, but I will learn. I don't need to be a PhD in digitization, I will learn. The more you think like this, the more you will embrace change and transformation. Okay? So, net, disruption is something which disrupts your daily routine, as simple as that. Okay. Fortune 500 companies, 1/3 of companies die every decade, 1.5 companies go away. Okay. Life of a company is 12 to 16 years today. You have no choice but to change. Transformation is the answer to the the disruption which is out there. I gave you examples of the Maruti car. I gave you examples of Q-commerce versus e-commerce. And in transformation, think of the higher order needs. Ask the difficult questions. Be willing to experiment. Be willing to build a new ecosystem. Be willing to try things. The past will not repeat itself. That much I can tell you. The past will not repeat itself. So whatever you've done in the past, 45% of CEOs are saying that will not be good enough for the future. So that's all I have to say. More than happy to take any questions from you on any topic right now. Okay, most welcome.
So thank you for indulging us in such a well-rounded speech. I think every line you spoke was a takeaway. Sir, it's ironic, but your Vistara, which is a subsidiary of Air India, is flying 10 minutes early today. So we have a hard stop at 7 p.m. So we can accommodate about 4 or 5 questions. So the floor is open for Praveen Bhai. If somebody can reach a mic out there.
Hello. Sir, whenever there is a discussion about not ready for the upgradation, then of course there is a talk about Nokia.
Absolutely.
And you have already worked with the Nokia, it's a top level. So will you please share something why Nokia didn't upgrade it themselves?
This is the syllabus I am most used to. This question I get everywhere when I say this. The thing is, it's not that Nokia didn't have smartphones. Okay, we had smartphones, we had everything. The mistake we made was in the choice of our operating system. Nokia had Symbian, which was Series 60, we had Series 40, we had Series 30. Unfortunately for us, we bought a new American CEO. The new American CEO did not have expertise either in brand or in emerging markets. I used to run emerging markets for Nokia at that point of time from Dubai itself. He didn't have, a specialization in either. But to be fair to him, he went to Brin and Page in Google and said, I have a 32 share handset brand, can we partner with Google for Android? Now, at the end of the discussion, people in the discussion have told me this, he felt that Brin and Page did not give him enough power because he was a 32-player handset market player, they didn't give him enough respect. So he went out of that meeting and said, we will not do Android. The moment you say you will not do Android, what's your choice? You go to Windows. Android had 82 share of the operating system, Apple had 12 share, Windows had 4. So a 32 share brand picked a 4 share operating system. And after that we never came back. That was the death of Nokia. The choice of the wrong operating system. We had more smartphones. Nokia was more innovative before 2012 than all the cell phone companies put together right now. Nokia had more form factors. Nokia had much more innovation than anybody else. We chose the wrong operating system. That's what killed us. And then it was a point of no return. Then Microsoft bought us. Then Microsoft said, don't do Android, do only Windows. Now the consumer is confused. Is there a Windows from Nokia? Is there an Android from Nokia? What the hell is happening? Then Microsoft said, let's get rid of it. They sold it off. Then it became HMD. Then HMD did Android phones. Then HMD told Nokia, I can't pay you 3 to 4% royalty. So Nokia brand, you take it back from me. Okay, I'll only do HMD. I still use a Nokia. This is the latest HMD. Okay, I've only been using Nokia all my life. So that's something close to my heart. But that's a question I get all the time.
We have another question from Mr. Praveen Agarwal.
Where? Yeah.
So you said that disruption is there where price value changes. But in the Indian context, how do you tackle the sasta mentality? Because brands, whenever anybody is trying to establish a brand, faces this challenge that sasta bikta hai.
Not true. That's a complete wrong assumption in India. And the people who actually fueled this are the media and a few CEOs. Completely wrong. We looked at many categories. Out of the 63 categories, let me name. Colgate is the market leader in rural India, which you say is price sensitive. Not any of the other guys. Samsung is the market leader in television in rural India. Philips is the market leader in radios in rural India. They have a 160% premium over everybody else. Okay? You name it and I can tell you, the cheapest product never sells in the most price competitive.
Because the cheapest product is a poor solution. Poor people don't want poor solutions. Remember this. Respect them. This is a mistake. And we've seen a number of these guys. Let me give you examples. Akai, there used to be, what's his name? Mulchandani, Kabir Mulchandani. Okay? He started the 199, 299, 399 audio system. He had to close his business. He's in Dubai now doing renewables. Nirma, for long the celebrated, case study in Harvard, etc., etc., they're getting out of FMCG and then the real estate business. So when you go price, there is no money. You can't build it. At the end of the day, it is price plus experience plus service which contributes to it. Let me ask you a simple question, but this is a category and the answer is obvious. Will you send your child to the school with the cheapest fees? Do you go to the cheapest restaurant to eat a family meal? Why not? Think about it. Because price is one element. There are many elements more to it. So just do all the women here go and buy the cheapest saris? Costlier sari. Do they buy the cheapest jewelry? Do they buy the cheapest bag? Human beings want value, want experience. You need to focus on it. If you focus on that, you'll get it.
I have time for more questions.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yes, please.
Yeah. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, please.
Yeah. So I belong to service sector, that is like IT and like, I would rather say like the service sector fields. So team building and retaining the, I would say the employees is the biggest challenge to us. At the same time, when we train them, they kind of build their own brand. So how, what is your suggestion on that? Like how we can encounter a company or a cherished company where we have to retain the employees as well and have to maintain the sensitivity of our own brand as well.
Very, very good question. So here's the thing. When people work for you, all that you can do with them is to be honest with them, be fair to them, be authentic. Train them, add value to them. If they go away, it's their choice. You cannot put them in lock and key and chains and say, stay back in my company. It won't work. So remember what Jonathan Livingston Seagull said. If they fly, let them fly. If it's yours, it will come back. If it's not, it will never come back. That's the way to think about it. As long as they work for you. When they leave you, celebrate them. Say thank you very much for all that you've contributed. Be a good ambassador of the company. If you want to come back, please feel free to come back. Tell them. When you do that, the word in the market will be this is a company worth working for. And people will stay with you more than the others. The reason is, today employees are volunteers. They are not employees. They have volunteered 2 years to you. Can you make the most of those 2 years? If you can make it, they'll give you a third year. They'll give you a fourth year. The next thing about personal brand. Today, everybody is a personal brand thanks to LinkedIn, thanks to Instagram, thanks to whatever it is. As long as people are not sharing confidential information about your company or whatever you're doing, they're free to do what they want. That's my philosophy. A lot of companies don't agree with me, but I always say in all the companies that I've led, people are free as long as you don't discuss anything confidential. That should be your only guide, nothing else. If he is building, he has a party outside Indore, he's taking pictures and posting it saying, I'm at this party, how does it impact you? As long as he doesn't smoke cocaine and get caught by the police, it doesn't impact you. So remember that. If he smokes cocaine, gets caught by the police, you fire him, over. No discussion. But the fact is, you must let people build their own brands. Go back to why I'm saying the age of a company is 12 to 18 years. So what is the employee thinking? I want to build my own brand. Why should you stop?
So can I ask a question?
Yeah.
You've explained about the disruption happening in many industries. Can you also throw some light on the disruption happening in the PE and VC industry and the tools of transformation being used?
Very good. Thank you for asking that. Right up my professional alley. India has 5,200 listed companies. It's the highest in the world. Okay, the New York Stock Exchange has, I think, 3,300 or so. India has 5,200. But the difference is, 2/3 of these 5,200 companies are family companies, family-owned companies. That means 5,200 multiplied by 0.66. I'm talking of 3,500 companies which are family concerns. Here's the catch: families fight. Kids don't want to take a business which they think is unattractive or does not have technology or does not have a brand. My prediction to you today, and I keep telling this in Advent to all the partners, I tell them, out of the 3,500 companies, 1,000 companies will come up for PE evaluation in the next 10 years. I guarantee you, it will come up. Because the Indian entrepreneur says, I've slogged for 25 years, I've slogged for 30 years, I've built a company which is 1,000 crores, I'm making 100 crores, enough, let me now cash out. Many people are going through that. So what do PE companies do? We buy a company, a packaging. See another attractor, buy it. We suddenly build a packaging behemoth. And we create value through scale. On their own, the Indian entrepreneur is not looking to create scale through partnerships. That's what's going to happen right now in the next 10 years. I'm absolutely sure of it, without a shadow.
Thank you.
Sir,
Yes, please. Go ahead. Yeah.
what drives you to work for a company and what drives you to leave it?
Okay. Great questions. You know, here's the thing. When I worked with Hindustan Lever, I never thought I'd ever leave Hindustan Lever. When I worked with Nokia, I never thought I'd ever leave Nokia. Now, whenever you go to a company, I think what's important is to respect that the company has a particular way of doing things, it has a particular philosophy, it has a particular drift. That's the culture of the company. Culture can be created proactively. If you don't do anything, also you have a culture. Remember that. That might be a laissez-faire culture and a no-good culture, but it's still culture. That's how people experience it. Okay. So whenever you work in a company, you must respect the rules, procedures, norms, and culture of the company. When you believe that the company does not reward you for what you are and where you are standing and what you've contributed, and there's a clash of values in the with the company and you, okay, then you say, I'll leave, thank you, I've done my bit for you. But till the last moment that you work in the company, you must do the best for the company. I left Hindustan Lever on April 14, 2003. I was in my office till 9 o'clock. I signed off, put everything together, put all the papers, walked off. Never went back to the office. Once you shut a door on a company, don't go back. Never go back. You had your time, you enjoyed it, don't go back again. Okay, so that's what it is.
Is it more value or is it more like you don't see it's not happening what you want?
It's both. It's values, it's also to say, hey, I'd like to do this in a particular manner which is in the best interest of the company. Okay? So let's take suppose you're in Ford, you're in GM. You want to drive EVs. You go to the boss and say, let's do this. I want to be part of the EV team. The boss keeps fobbing you off. What do you say? I'll go join BYD. I'll go join, Tesla. BYD is a very good example of transformation. They're the number one EV company right now as I speak to you. What do you think BYD did before becoming EV cars? Any idea? Absolutely. They were the largest supplier of smartphone batteries to smartphones. They were my largest supplier in Nokia in 2003. In 2005, he went and bought a company which was a defunct EV company, Chinese company. You know why? He said, yeah, battery is the fundamental product of this, EV car. 50% is a battery. I know batteries better than anybody else. See the transformation from batteries to cars. Amazing, but asset-based transformation.
Thank you, sir. We would have loved for you to speak more, but then this is one occasion we could not get the flight late. So we'll do two activities together. Chani, we request you to propose the vote of thanks, our honorary secretary, and as the stage is also set for a small cake cutting ceremony to commemorate 61 years. So let's do these two things together. Board members and EC members, please come near the cake cutting table.
Good evening, everyone. Ashwin, you've asked me to speak while the cake is in front of everyone, so I'm not sure how many people will listen to me. But I take this opportunity, it's totally my privilege to be proposing the vote of thanks. It's supposed to be very short and, a parameter that the program is over. But I will take my time and I would take this opportunity to thank Sir. When Ashwin, you said that, each line was a takeaway, I think it was absolutely true. Today, we did not know whether to take notes, whether to listen to you, or whether to take pictures of what you were showing. So I think people who wanted to be here and couldn't be here, they don't know what they've missed. So sir, thank you for being here. Thanks so much. We all love the session very much, and very rarely I think it happens that we want the session to go on for a longer time. So thank you so much. I also take this opportunity to thank Team IMA. They say that Rome wasn't built in a day, but after 61 years, I think it's safe to say that we've built something very impressive, and maybe even added a few skyscrapers on the way. So, and the credit goes to the entire team of IMA and the board members, the presidents, and all of us that we've been part of it. And when you say that management is difficult, please try operating a family WhatsApp group. It's even more difficult. But jokes apart, it's been a wonderful session today. And as we conclude this event, let us carry forward the lessons and ideas that we've learned and continue to build on the strong foundation that Indore Management Association has laid over last 61 years. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for being here. Thank you.
Okay? Yes, sir. Yes, start. Okay. Yeah. Ashwin, please come.
May I request everybody to please proceed to the lilac hall for high tea and join us for refreshments, please.